Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 44 of the Sickcast, aka the Siblings and Cardboard Podcast. I'm your host, Donnie, joined by my buddy slash co-hosts, Noah and Thomas. Whether you're a veteran card gamer or a first-timer just testing the waters, we are all Siblings in Cardboard. Gentlemen, how have things been since the last time we talked?
Pretty good. This past Nationals weekend was pretty exciting. I stayed up really late watching the Hong Kong Nationals, watching Team Blue Pitch do their thing. It was pretty interesting.
What was the end result on that one? I didn't actually, I didn't catch any of the Hong Kong Nats. I just know that the card guys were commentating again.
Yeah. So the finals was Zen versus New, right? With Xing. Xing taking it at the end. So congrats to him.
Not surprising.
Heck yeah.
He's a heck of a player.
Oh yeah.
The whole team is.
So it was Kelvin Ning, I think that's how you pronounce his name, versus Xing. On is Zen versus New, and New picked up the win.
Yeah,
it was close.
Wasn't Xing the runner-up at Worlds last year with Icelander?
Possibly. I know.
So.
I recognize his face, so I think so.
So
he's a very good player.
Yeah, he picked up another blue heavy disruptive deck and did pretty well with it. Go figure.
And then
definitely like seeing that.
Drawing a blank on Singapore, man, it was so late. Shouldn't have stayed up that late. I didn't go to sleep till like 5:30 or something.
Ooh,
yeah,
gracious alive, man.
It's super late.
Yeah, it's like stayed up watching that, and the end of Awesome Games Done Quick. The Elden Ring speed run was pretty incredible to watch. Any percent glitchless, which is way better than the glitched category.
Oh
so,
yeah,
it's really cool.
Usually the glitchless ones are top notch.
I went to one armory, like I've been doing. Went to Friday Armory, still playing with Riptide. Might rebuild my Dash.io deck. Not Mechanoid though.
Not doing the Mechanoid list anymore?
No, that was fun. It can't beat KO or Zen because it's just a turn too slow. It's a little bit slower, but it can't be fatigued. But who's fatiguing in this meta? Like nobody.
Well, that may be changing soon. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe Victor's gonna pick up more popularity now that he's been winning.
Well, Victor's not a fatigue deck though. Victor is definitely an aggro deck.
He could just go, okay, I'm gonna block now. And just block until Dash.io runs out of cards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Noah, did you get up to anything in Flesh and Blood this week?
I have been building Azalea very slowly. I've been sorting. I've been doing a lot of sorting. I actually sorted all my cards. So I went and resorted everything. So I took out all my binders. I took everything out of them. I resorted everything by some standards. I mean, I think I just huck all the light cards together. So Light Warrior gets put with light, but it's decent enough. So the plan is they're slowly going back up on TCG Player. The store should be live this week, and then everything's going to get re-put back into the binder off of category.
Are you doing that thing where you like keep one playset of everything and make your playset folders?
No.
I
just sell everything, and if I need it, I need it. I will be pulling aside everything I need for Azalea, and I have been doing that. So anytime I come across things that I'm like, no, that's pretty much played. And our local buddy of ours, Ning, is also selling me some pieces. So I'll get one more codex to swap out for the foil codex that you have, and then I'll have a playset of foil codex, which, by the way, they're up again, if you could believe that. I don't know how they continue to climb, but that card's gonna hit $100 at some point.
Codex is going up again?
Yeah, we'll get to it. It's not on the list, but I'll make a note of it. It's above, I think it was like at 60 or 69, 68, and it's above 70 now. Just to let everybody know. But Flesh and Blood wise, no. I've been goldfishing Azalea hands. I've just been thinking about it. Dory as well, now that this tournament deck is out, which I went and looked at the Brunei national champion deck, and it looks like really old school Dory. There's yellow overpowers and yellow iron song responses, so I was already sitting there going, okay, the 3 energy potions. I was thinking, all right, I see what we're doing here. And the smallest armor suite I've ever seen, including Arcane's Arcanite Skullcap, which just blows my mind. I think that's
What?
that's his Arcane. His Arcane is that. So it's an interesting deck list, but very, very heavy on the I'm going to present go again, and I'm going to go over whatever you block with kind of a strategy. So very, very like bare bones. Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
There is no other list right now.
Oh.
Hatchets is if we were doing some kind of a value meta, but this isn't value meta. You got to be unfair.
Yeah, it's combo meta, and value meta kind of folds to combo meta because, like, oh yeah, you're accruing all this value every turn, and then suddenly they, do 50
40
points of value in one turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that can happen. As far as Flesh and Blood goes, I did manage to get out to my armory on Tuesday, and I went to another one on Friday. And I'd like to shout out to the real Noah, from the Level Up Discord, another Noah Z actually, who won the armory on Friday and hooked me up with the cold foil mistblade. So I've got one cold foil dagger. I just got to get the other one now. So we're still on a mission to get the matching set. But I also got lucky and won the die roll, so I've got the new playmat and the cold foil dagger from the same armory. So win.
2 out of 3 down.
Yep. Mission accomplished. I'm going to get that Just Nick playmat when skirmish season rolls around. And I can hear it in my voice. I woke up this morning, I'm a little stuffy, so if I sound a little different on the mic or to anybody out there listening, that's why. I'm a little stuffy, but we're here. We're gonna work through it.
That's
but yeah, overall good week.
Gotta grind through it, but make sure you take care of yourself. Don't get sick now, because then when you get sick, it's gonna be even worse. So drink your tea.
Man, like I was saying before we started recording, it's I got too much stuff going on. I can't afford to slow down.
I remember what you said. I'll sleep when I'm dead. The old business adage. The old.
It ain't good, but you got to do what you got to do, man. I mean,
as old as time, as they say.
I mean, I feel guilty that I wasn't able to make last week, but yeah, I had to get that. I had to get my assignment turned in. There's no way I could do the podcast and get that assignment turned in on time. I was covered up. But here we are. We're back. We're gonna try to stay consistent, if at all possible. We'll see what happens.
So talking about your Just Nick playmat, isn't that like a top 2 playmat for skirmish?
I have no idea. I think it was I don't know if it's a finalist skirmish mat or if it was a random prize draw. I'm hoping it's a random because maybe I could appeal to somebody's wallet if if it's a random one, but I don't know.
So if you do have to win it, have you thought about what Blitz and or Living Legend deck you're gonna play?
No. Last Blitz season, I played Uzuri, and I actually had a lot of fun playing Uzuri. So I'll probably play new. We'll see. I mean, I like the idea of the disruptive package going into a format where Briar is still legal. So maybe. I mean, Zen's definitely going to be popular.
Yeah.
Blitz?
The bans to Zen were only in Classic Constructed, not Blitz. So he could still have the 2 blue bonds in his deck and 2 degenerate bond stuff. I would think he's like feels unbeatable. As long as you just transcend one time.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. I may have to get some practice. I may have to pick somebody's brain that actually plays Blitz. Because I know I've got no shot at the LL format. That's just way out in left field for me. I don't have any kind of power deck in reserve that I think
honestly I would just like maybe borrow someone's Lexi deck if they have one.
Ugh. I'm not that much of a scumbag.
I mean, is it really that scumbaggy? Like,
yes,
the whole format's
Lexi is still that scumbag.
Or Chain.
I will never forgive Lexi for what she did during the Lexi meta. No. No. Hashtag forever too soon.
I mean, I think now after we've seen the final results, I think Zen was actually more dominant in his meta than Lexi was. Pretty sure he had a higher win rate now that we've seen the full like Nats conversion rates and like the top 8s and stuff. I'd have to double check because I'm just kind of talking out of feelings, but those stats look pretty good. Pretty good. I think he deserved what happened to him, which we'll talk about.
Yeah. It was definitely well deserved. The Canadian Nats completely convinced me of that when we saw 6 show up in the top 8, and we watched them beat a new and a victor.
Yeah, the only other 2 were decks that are kind of built to counter him. Like there were no rogue decks or anything. Up. Yeah, well, that just because you can counter him doesn't mean you don't prevent him from finding his combo.
Yep, shenanigans ensued.
So that Victor game was closer than it seemed. Like that crushed the week. If there could have been some teeth in the next attack after that, maybe could have chained him down. And
yeah, the Victor kind of low rolled.
The life totals were a lot closer than they seemed too, because he can have some really explosive turns, right? You disrupt the Zen one time, you play a big visit the Gold Main Estate, and then the next time you're like swinging for like 20.
Yeah, and messing up on the hero power and trying to put the Art of War on the bottom, that the IP2 sealed his fate on that one.
Yes.
I mean, whoops.
It was a deserved IP2. I don't think anyone would say it wasn't, but it did kind of suck. Because it did get. We could talk about that more. We're like completely skipping a segment.
Yeah. Sorry, Noah.
It's fine. It's fine. Look, tangents are there for a reason. And besides, like the market's still not necessarily in what I would consider my favorite point. But there's
nobody's panicking.
No, nobody's panicking. I mean, some things are going up, down, left, right, but the new heroes haven't been revealed enough for anybody to repanic on certain cards.
I think it's crazy how cheap their Majestics are, considering how strong all 3 of the new Mystic heroes are. They're so cheap.
But there's a lot of product that was open. I think Misfil was I know I say this a lot for the sets, but I think Misfil was actually purchased more than heavy hitters by a leaps and bounds. Do you know what I mean? I just think there's such an influx of product.
Yeah, a lot was opened.
And more keeps happening, because like it's not just the Majestics that are cheap, it's everything. So like if I go to the front page just real quick and I look at any of these legendaries, these are class defining legendaries. Master of Recurring Nightmares is 24. 12 Petal Kasaya is 23. Do you know what I mean? Like they're the Fable's $32. Traverse is 67.
Dude, Chase the Tail is $1.75.
That's what I'm saying. Like
that may change.
I mean, that's the strongest Majestic in his deck from MST, right?
Bonds, that may change.
I agree. I mean, obviously levels is equivalent to what Enlightened Strike is. So you got $30 on that. Weakest link. But those are generics in a sense. Do you know what I mean? For Mystic Heroes, the class defining Majestics, even New's been picking up a lot of wins. I said for sure, Bonds of Agony, Persuasive Prognosis, they're gonna go up. Nope.
Rainbow Foil Bonds of Ancestry are more expensive than Chase the Tail. Yeah,
so
they're really cheap. The Majestics, like this is it's a good thing, right? It makes it where it's very accessible to get into the game, starting basically from an MST hero. I think new is awful to be a first-time hero to get into, but I think like Zen, part of his popularity is he's the best deck in the format, and he's not that expensive to play.
No, he really isn't. Like if you actually wanted to buy the full. I mean, you get the Enlightens, you get the Art of Wars, which are $40 right now. Art of War kind of bumped up. It's going between 30 and 40, which is interesting. But most of the stuff is cheap. But there are some things we're gonna highlight. There's some things that I've never even seen them at this price. Like they're actually really low, or really caught me by surprise. But we're going to talk about Warband of Bologna first, and the only reason is it seems to be on a slight resurgence. It's nothing crazy, but I think the new Bolton deck has put obviously some people onto Bolton, or at least put it under people's radars. Nobody knows exactly how the deck's going to look. I know there's a lot of speculation whether or not Bolton's going to be good. He has a couple of different play styles, and nothing truly stands out yet. It's got to beat against the meta too.
I would have thought that the new headpiece would make it go down.
I don't know. People are speculating. Maybe it's like it's got like it's got that curve where it goes all the way down to the ground and it's starting to just tail back up. So, I mean, again, it's not like the biggest resurgence, but we're talking it's like from $13.99 upwards of now to 20, like 18-20, and so it's just on the upswing. Warband of Bologna was a Bright Lights card, legendary light warrior headpiece. It is blocks for 2, temper, action 2, destroy this. The next time you attack this turn, you may charge your hero soul. If a yellow card is charged this way, draw a card, go again. So you get 3 total block out of it. Pretty good effect.
Well, you can get 2 block out of it. If you use it like as like your combo starter or something, you have to destroy it. That's why I think it's kind of interesting, because like it's the other headpiece, you can't use it as a combo starter, but you could still use it to get a card into soul and draw a card. So you're card neutral and you still get to block 2. You have to pay 2 and destroy it.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw it. I saw the little curve. I thought for sure. Obviously, the Bolton what you call it, armory deck is pre-selling right now. So
I mean, Warband Bologna is still definitely better for like combo Bolton for sure.
Maybe people are not necessarily speccing on the armory deck, but planning to upgrade it once they get it.
Yeah, I just think it's one of those things where if people are going to play Bolton, they'd rather have the card than not have it, and it's at an all-time low. And so
makes sense.
I don't disagree with it. Whether or not the card is good now, I think eventually there'll be a light warrior. I don't think that Bolton is the last light warrior we're ever going to get. That's just my 2 cents on that. Warrior in general has had Olympia is a very completely different design, I think, than where they're going to take other warriors down the road. And I don't even think we've seen Olympia's full potential, because it definitely involves going to the anvil and stocking up your inventory. But it's just so crazy when there's that many different possibilities and ways to make the deck. Like, it's so hard to narrow down to why you'd play that card and what equipment you'd run. And it's also very meta specific, but I think Olympia is just not solved yet. And I think he's going to be a very unique playstyle once he is, but warriors that are going to come out down the road, which there does need to be some more warriors. Cause Story will eventually LL, which is really sad. I don't even want to think about that.
I think she's in much danger at the moment.
575. I mean, it's up there.
At this rate, it's going to take another 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years.
hey, hold on. Look.
They might print another Dory before she LLs.
I'm just making sure I've got plenty of time to just, really soak it all in. And she picked up a Nats win, right? So maybe there's some viability, but not really.
Yeah, she has to do that just 100 more times.
Well, I just meant, there's a hope to play her in this meta. Maybe, very, very loosely. The next card we're going to talk about is Dissolve Reality from Heavy Hitters. I've been watching this card go up for a little bit. It's plateaued, but it did have a trend. It did have sort of a glow up, and it kind of continues to see play. And it came out of Heavy Hitters. It was was it an expansion slot? I want to say it was. Dissolve Reality is an illusionist action with Go Again. So yellow, pitches for 2, blocks for 3. So it's kind of nice. It's yellow. Each hero puts all cards in their arsenal on the bottom of their deck and creates a ponder token.
I think people are still probably testing this one out. Early in the season, early in the MST season, one of the first Enigma decks to actually do something was using this card. So maybe people are still trying it.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think it's
Dissolve Reality is the one that's just straight illusionist yellow, right?
Yes,
okay.
straight illusionist yellow.
I've seen it played in Prism too.
Feels
pretty bad if you're running New Horizons and you get hit with Dissolve Reality when you have a double arsenal. It's happened. You get a Ponder. Yay. You lost your 2 cards and you get 1 card next turn.
It's pretty I mean, like, it still doesn't hit people like Riptide when you trench it. I mean, obviously the card's still gone, but you know what I mean. You get that resource. That's kind of neat. But it is nice to be able to just Arsenal hate. It's illusionist Arsenal hate outside of throwing a CNC.
And when this card came out, it was like worthless though.
It was.
Yeah.
I mean, when it first came out, I mean, it was
less than $1.
Back. To when it first came out. I mean, it's always been decently high, and it had a couple of glow up periods where it was at like 14. But yeah, back at the early June, it was all the way down to 91 cents.
Yeah,
and that was on June 2nd. So like, I mean, a month ago almost, right? It was useless, and so it's nice. It's been slowly trending. I don't see it going any higher. I think it's a really niche card. I mean, it has its playability, but just like I said, the market is in such a wacky place where, if it's trending upwards, I want to talk about it now because everything's sitting at a real lull at the moment, and nobody's budging on certain things. And I think a lot of people are just selling right now. Where Nats is already solved, it's done. There's no next major tournament's not here yet. The new heroes are going to throw a fork into a lot of things. I think that'll shake everything up again, obviously. And it'll be a lot of arcane cards flying off the shelves, and lightning cards once they figure this out.
Yeah, when we get the Wizards hero powers at Amsterdam, it's gonna go nuts.
Yeah, that's when I think people are gonna start being able to really read it. Even the new thing that was spoiled with the ban list does absolutely nothing for the card pool. I've checked it through and throughout. There are no cards.
Yeah.
They don't exist.
Kind of give you an idea of what their design point's gonna be, right?
It does a little bit, but I went instantly and I was like, there are no cards with that, right? And I think there's one, and it's not a real
Sigil
card.
of Protection.
Yeah, so we can't get the full grasp yet, but I do think that if anything, I just think the Shock Charmers I doubled down on for right now. That's about it. The next card though, it has seen play. I think it continues to go up. We've talked about it. It's Aether Arc. It's trended upwards pretty much this entire time. It's at $10 right now, which I think is pretty comfy for it. Up from like, $6. It just continues to go up. Aether Arc came out from Heavy Hitters. It is a wizard action, blue, block 3, cost 0. Deal 1 arcane damage to each opposing hero. Create a ponder for the total, or create a ponder token for each hero dealt damage this way. I don't know. I don't know what's not to like about this card. It's a blue block 3. Pings for 1, creates a ponder token. I like it. $10 worthy? I think so. You got an amp effects now. It's nice.
It is good. It is a blue card that can kill your opponent in Kano. And those are, you need those. Those are huge role players because you need a critical mass of blues to pitch, but you also need it when you hit it off the top. You need to be able to play it, right?
Yeah.
So, and it can get a ponder token, which is relevant with how good like things like Kindle are inside of your arsenal.
So the next 2 cards, these are things that I'm not going to tell you to pick up a ton of. The other one I'm just waiting for it. I know it'll eventually be good. I just didn't realize it was this low again. We're going to get to that one. This one though, I had no idea it was down this low. Mask of Momentum, okay, is a card that I would pick up if you don't own one. And I know what you're thinking, right? Katsu just got strays technically.
Mm-hmm.
From that, but it also pretty much broke Mopple, which is great. I actually don't mind that at all. I mean, it's a way of like not banning Mopple, but banning Mopple in a sense. Granted, you can still get your sorry about that. For those who those are unaware, it's a headpiece you can destroy and go fetch a card with 2 or less power. And so people are grabbing blue bonds in Katsu because its attack was 2. And that's Mask of Momentum is down to $38.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was pretty much solid steady at 90, seen it at 74. You know what I mean? And then it's just like Zen came out, Katsu said, who? And
Fi
then
said who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, no.
I mean, and this card is still a critical part of both Zen and Fi's package, right? If you're not trying to do the big combo turn and you want to try to accrue value against like aggro decks that don't want to block anyway,
right?
And then you still want to block with the card later, because Mask Pouncing Links, you have to sack it to get the value, right? You can't block with it.
Yeah.
But when I played Katsu for a season, Mask of the Momentum was like my choice against Azalea. Azalea doesn't want to block. I'm going to make her block, or she's going to let me draw a card. And then when I finally need to block, I don't feel bad cashing it in because I got my value out of it.
Absolutely. The card's nuts. I mean,
but it sucks compared to Traverse the Universe.
Yes, it definitely does. It's I mean, for Zen, which that's the only ninja.
It's a Mask of the
Pounce.
Traverse the Universe is a Mask of the Pouncing Links that blocks for 2. Like when you use it.
Yeah, it's the best of both. I'm getting my 2 block. I'm also getting my Mask of the Pouncing Links effect to pretty much rip the exact card I want.
I have a tiger.
And a tiger to boot. The value is insane. Mask of Momentum came out of Welcome to Wraith. First set ever created, so very old card. It's been around for a hot minute. It literally has been the headpiece of choice for Katsu, unless you're swapping to Massive Pouncing Links, but that's not going to be the choice anymore. So when Katsu does come back into the fold, which will hopefully be with that expansion slot card, maybe that makes things click again. But you know, foreshadowing, I would pick up these if you don't have them. I think 38 is completely criminal for this card. Once per turn effect, when an attack action card you control is the 3rd or higher chain link in a row to hit, draw a card. Note that you can actually Kadachi, that's your 2 chain links. The 3rd one now threatens Mask. You can't get Mask off of the Kadachi though, so you definitely want to do Kadachi, then the attack action. It does block for 2 and it does have Blade Break. Insane headpiece. I mean, literally insane. Turns your I mean, it's insane. It's nuts. You draw something off of Mask, next thing you know, you're 3-4 chains, 5-6 long, and
if you draw 2 cards in a single game with it, it's one of the highest value headpieces in the game. Like it even starts to cross out like Traverse the Universe if the draws were good. And I just love the way it makes your opponent like play bad.
Yep.
Because your opponent has to like, oh god, which I'm going to block one of these attacks. Is it going to be this like yellow card that's hitting me for 2 because it's the 3rd card? I guess
it definitely puts the ball in your opponent's court and makes them make the decision whether you want to like. And most of the time, you don't want them to draw. That's usually crippling. You're thinking, well, what could they possibly get with that one card? Lots of things. Lots of things. I've done that too, where I'm like, sure, go ahead and draw for Mask, and it's like, oh, that was a bad idea.
I think it's pretty telling that like a headpiece that says once per turn you have an opportunity to draw a card is just not good.
Yeah. The next card, I've been wanting this card to be good for a hot minute. And by good, I mean at least see some playability. I think it's the flavor on it's super cool. I don't think there's anything wrong with the card. It has really hot contention in the slot that it's in, and that is Shriek Razors. Shriek Razors is down to $8.
Good.
Which I think is actually criminal.
Is it?
I know the card has no playability right now, which
probably never
kind
will.
of sucks. Whoa. Every card gets its day. Okay,
I gotta be for
exactly
real.
What
I think you're better off running Van Braces of Determination against a deck that doesn't have Ward than you are running Shriek Razors. Just to save the deck slot and having a consistent attack reaction that you could proc.
That's pretty harsh.
Yeah, that is. There will be a day when Shriek Razors becomes real.
I mean, it's not going to be a new, because you want to use your silver for like for levels of enlightenment stacking.
It's definitely not going to be a new. This is down the road, and maybe they wanted it to be for new because the attack reactions, they just missed their mark. So I think the design space has to go somewhere else again.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't understand Shriek Razors at all. It's a really cool card and it's good, but it's just so much worse than Flick Knives.
It's the fact that it costs 2 is gross.
Yeah.
It just makes it gross.
We're gonna eventually find an assassin that gets their attack reaction for free or something.
I think with new, they found their like spot they wanted to be in with a lot of the equipment and a lot of the cards and the general power level and the play style. So because we got more of something that's like a Zuri, right? Where you have to go, oh, what does she have in her hand? Does she have the Justinic? Because if they play a Bonds of Agony and they have the Justinic in their hand, usually you just go no blocks. Because you're not blocking that card. It's kind of like Dory, right? If you think Dory just has it, you just go no blocks. You just got to deal with losing the card. But Shriek Razors doesn't play into that really at all. It's just doing like what ninjas do with their glove piece, or Katsu, I would say, did with his glove piece with breaking scales, but it costs 2. It's really bad.
Yeah, I remember when that card was first spoiled, I thought it was going to be good and then was completely disappointed by it.
You could have thrown a dagger.
Me as well.
Like,
yeah, Flick Knives is, like I said, Flick Knives is just such a hard card for it to contest against. And where new really wants attack reactions, just like you said, the 2 is just too much to it's just too much to pay.
I'd rather swing a dagger.
It just doesn't fit into the cost curve, right? You pay 2 to swing a dagger, you have 1 resource left over. What can you do with that 1 resource? You can activate Vambraces of Determination or Arousing Wave. Like, you can't activate Shriek Razors unless you spend your Tunic. Then if you spend your Tunic, how are you playing your Hiss or your Venomous Bite?
It's definitely going to need a very specific assassin. Like I said, I think they really missed the mark with it. Like, I feel like new was maybe their intended target and it just fell short of it. And I don't think they realized how good the other gloves were going to fit.
It only makes sense in Arachne, because Arachne is the only person who gets like that crazy critical mass of silver that like you just want to buy back all of your gear with silver. That's all I can say.
Maybe some future Arachne variant that whose hero power says something about equipment you control's activated abilities cost 1 resource less. Or that would be cool.
Or free. That's what I'm saying. I feel like that's the only way this card comes into play. It's down the road. It's way later. It's
this is the only one that costs anything. The headpiece doesn't cost you anything. The boots don't cost you anything. The chest doesn't cost you anything. And you've got a whole package of silver buyback equipment. There could be a really cool setup where you're buying back your gear with silver over and over again, but we see 2 decks that have a buyback gear archetype, one with silver, one with gold, and neither of them are successful.
What if the gloves block for 2 and we're battle worn, like something absolutely insane? Does that change it?
Battle worn automatically changes it. If it blocked for 2
it has battle worn, but it only blocks for 1.
In assassin, yeah, it would see play.
You know, like,
because assassins don't have armor.
By the way, it changes, right? You go from paying for 2 to give a defending card -1 defense to paying 2 to break it so you can buy it back and gain 3 life.
Right.
Yeah, like it completely flips on its head what the card is used for. So you're not even. It could have no text. It could just say "pay 2, destroy this."
Well, yeah, yes, but I'm just, like, I think like the one battle worn is supposed to be that, like, getting that 1 block back over and over again, but like you said, it's just too expensive to use it in the first place to then want to buy it back. And how much does it cost to buy? Might as well tell you what the card does. Shriek Razors came out from way later. Shriek Razors came out from Bright Lights. It is an assassin equipment arms, which is why I tell you it's a hard slot to contest. While this is in your graveyard at the start of your turn, you may destroy 2 silver you control. If you do equip this, Attack reaction costs 2. Destroy this target attack action card defending an assassin attack gets -1 battle worn.
And it also has to be an assassin attack.
Yes.
Where Flick Knives doesn't actually care. The setups you do with Flick Knives, it affects, most importantly, Command and Conquer, right? You flick a spider's bite at them, and then you throw the Command and Conquer on the next attack in the chain, and all of their stuff has all their attacks have -1.
And you feel defense. Good. You walk out triumphantly, and that CNC hits, or that leave no witness hits, or pretty much anything you want to hit hits, because you've now activated your dagger effect without them getting a say so, unless they have prevention. Unless they have sweet prevention, which who's running prevention? I mean, most people are. I mean, I don't know. Take It on the Chin's a really good card. Lord,
annoying.
that's
so annoying.
That's one card.
Oh, that's a warrior card though.
It is. Well, warriors I think have a minus. I think Dawnblade into Azura usually have a decent matchup. Into Assassin.
I mean, warrior might pop back up a little bit. New is really popular, and New kind of hates playing against warrior. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got to keep all your cards, or at least multiple ones, and it's really hard to have 0 blocks and block and keep cards and not let Dawnblade or Bolton just get Raiden. You know what I mean? Even Bolton would probably be an annoyance too, just because of the string.
I don't know about that. Bolton's a little different, because if you ever catch Bolton with the Lumina Ascension in his hand and you banish that with a Bonds of Agony, he just loses the game on the spot. The other warriors don't really care. I think all Boltons. I think Raiden Bolton, you're not going to accrue enough value without a Lumina Ascension once or twice in a game to beat out the New.
Maybe.
I don't know. I haven't played that game a lot. I did play a really annoying game on Talishar the other day where I had an Enigma join my lobby, which is already an annoying game anyway. But they played all 3 dense blue mists against me on turns where I was trying to swing with my daggers, and a Mistcloak Gully that they kept out for 3 or 4 turns. It was
man.
That was
irritating.
That was a cooking deck.
Yeah, it was weird. I actually won the game, but it was still super irritating.
There's a reason why those irritating plays, a lot of times they're not good, because they're just kind of card for a card.
Yeah,
and
opportunity cost.
Yeah, they just don't get you there. They seem good when you play them, and you go, "Oh, that was so cool," and then but I still lost.
Yeah. They shut my daggers down for several turns, but
that's what I got. And pick up your ice cards. They're coming back eventually.
It's actually probably a good call. If Earth and Lightning are back, ice probably won't be too far behind. Who knows where it's going to come in at?
Right. Get your channeling villages. Get your blizzards. You don't have to go crazy, but those ice cards are real. They're going to stay real. There's no way about it. Pick those up if you want to play the new heroes, the new lightning heroes. Get the shock charmers before they completely explode. I have a feeling that they're going to be prevalent for some of these lightning heroes. If you want to play Rune Blade, grab a pair, Grasp the Arknights, please, before they go up to $100. They're at 80 now still. But not the white border version. So if you're okay with History Pack, they're only $40. So half the cost. Yes, it's a white border, but
I actually kind of love white border cards.
They are pretty. I tell you, the edges are pretty crispy.
And it triggers people. You have a whole bunch of black border cards, and you have that one white border, and they just think in their head, "What is this guy doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have
one. I have 120. I think that's a white border or something in my Dory deck. I definitely have just a off, one white border card just out of nowhere.
What is the
don't change it?
White border Mask of the Pound or Mask of Momentum at?
It's actually more expensive than the black border. I just looked at it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay then.
I don't really know why, but it is.
Some things are like that. It's very weird. But yeah, that's what I got. Tectonic Plating too. If you ever think you're gonna play Bravo again, he's pretty dead right now. But $24 is pretty criminal for that chess piece too. A lot of criminal criminally underrated cards right now. But that's the name of the game. I keep telling you guys how Flesh and Blood works. You got to buy low when they're not hyped up, because once they get hyped up and they're a real deck, you will not be paying that price anymore.
By the time something happens to make them good, it's too late.
It seriously is. The word travels way too quickly in this game.
It's
like
so fast. Like sometimes it's too fast, right?
It seriously. Sometimes it's like Rock Marble was literally the exception of it, and fight. Yeah.
Even though like it was just a rumor that it was a draconic card, a correct rumor. It just wasn't a draconic card in the last set for Phi. It was this Ashes of Mira guy.
Yup.
Over under, what do you think? Do you think we're gonna get another Ash in the expansion slot in Rosetta?
No, I think they're done. Like, I don't think they're gonna do that again. I think we'll get
that would be hilarious, though.
I think we'll get yet another card to support Riptide. We'll probably get something to.
The Armory deck supports Riptide. Okay, you don't need any more.
No, yeah. I think we'll get a Riptide specialization because they just keep throwing it at him. Yeah. Yeah, he's gotten a card like every set. Murky Waters is pretty good. Not amazing. Reel In was awful. Unplayable card.
Yeah, well,
but it was cool.
The final design space for Riptide's still there too. Is this weird hybrid deck?
Well,
Reelin's gonna
Murky Waters is much closer to the design space that you would kind of want Riptide to be in than Reel In was. No one really wants to play just a deck full of traps because
that man, you say that, and then I always find that Riptide where it's like, yeah, 29 traps, and it's like that's super cool, very innovative.
Anyway, here's my Kano deck.
Very hard to play against.
Okay. Let's talk about nationals now that it's over.
Oh man, it's over already.
It is over. Yeah. It's done.
Yeah, the season is finally done.
Yep, the season is finally done. So first place number of wins was Zen. Big surprise.
Wait, really?
15
no way.
15 wins. Second place was 10 wins with New, the Zen foil, right?
Yep.
Ish.
The next most winning hero was Victor at 4. 15, 10, 4. So
not surprising considering it's
Zen
meta and anti-meta.
Almost got the number of wins of all heroes combined, subtracting New. But if you subtract Victor, Zen won more nationals than all other heroes. If you subtract New and Victor, he won more nationals than all other heroes combined. He hit 80 top 8s, then 46 top 4s, then 27 top 2s, and then 15 wins. If you see a trend here, it's that if he gets to a tier in top 8, he's got a slightly above 50% chance to convert. That is crazy. And I know that's partly because like we saw things with Canadian Nats where it was 6 Zens, 1 Victor, 1 New. So it's guaranteed that a lot of Zens are going to convert. But still, that's
it just
you want to talk about conversion rates? Look at news. And
yeah,
real quick, we gotta give the shout out to Vishra TCG for putting this thing together. Thank you. These numbers are fantastic.
New has a really high conversion rate too. It's about 50% until you get to the top 2s.
Mm-hmm. If New makes it to the finals,
she basically almost always won.
Is that because when she was in the finals, she was always against
a Zen and tried to shred a Zen up? Yep.
Right.
Or against a Victor, right? Victor's did pretty well.
Yeah, and I don't say that to be like, take it away from me. But like again, like it's a very, very established front-running deck and a deck that beats the front-running deck. And so if you're a new player, you're saying, please give me all the Zens. And then if you're anything that beats New, you want to just play News and not play Zens. And if you're Zens, you want to play everything. You know what I mean? Like you set your triangle up.
So we asked this question 2 weeks in a row, past 2 weeks in a row, maybe even 3. Is Zen too strong? And the resounding answer was, yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And I'll say I was right, though I will say I was wrong. I don't know if I ever like talked about Bonds of Ancestry being a target. It just never even came into my mind because it's like, they're just not going to do Katsu dirty like that. So we do have a BNR. Cool. Just give context to people who maybe don't follow. We do have a ban and restricted announcement that is active as of recording today, Monday, July 8th, that blue Bonds of Ancestry and yellow Bonds of Ancestry specifically are banned from Classic Constructed.
Yep. First time they've done color-specific bans and turned a card into a Majestic from a rare.
Rest in peace, Katsu. He has to
I don't
go.
know.
You'll run those 3 red bonds, but I think you mentioned he'll have to do the Lord of the Winds line. You have to. You don't have enough width in your deck now to consistently beat anyone who has even a deck full of blue, just block 3s.
Katsu is going to be shelved until that expansion slot card comes out, which I assume is going to have some way of either replacing the bonds or acting like a bonds, or will be able to reoccur.
It will have. It has something to do with the Dishonor
bonds.
line, so it has to have something to do with bonds. Because it said in
Does it though?
Yeah. Okay. So in the here, I'll find the exact wording. If you give me just a second.
I mean, I wouldn't even be upset if
I know
they
what you're
just
talking about, but I don't think
we expect that Katsu can still find ways to bring dishonor upon all of his opponents, perhaps with some coming help from the Rosetta expansion slot. Now, unless they didn't mean like actually playing the card Dishonor, which is really, really
I think it was just a cute play on words.
But Dishonor is like the card in Katsu. That's like the card you threaten, right? That's how you win games a lot of times, because you go,
what if,
oh, I'm going to let this damage come through because they might try to dishonor me at the end. And then you go, no, I was just going to play a line. I'm not going to play
a different combo line that it just can combo into Dishonor?
No, Dishonor says on its text.
It has to be Surging Descendant Bonds.
Yes. A card with Surging Strike and Gust Wave, Descendant Gust Wave, and Bonds of Ancestry have to be on the chain.
Things. They could do some cheeky things where they just say you can name the cards on the active chain link.
Yeah, that's true, but
isn't that what Shifting Winds of the Mystic Beast does?
Yes.
I mean, effectively,
yeah, you can actually play the Dishonor line using Shifting Winds of the Majestic Beast, including playing the Dishonor line, but not actually playing Dishonor too. You can just name them one at a time, just to be. It's cheeky.
Either that, or it's just going to be a way of reoccurring the bonds.
It could be a way. It could be a way of letting Katsu get cards out of his banish, so that he has a way to get his Bonds of Ancestry back into his deck.
Which I don't think would be bad.
That. Katsu specialization.
That would be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Return all cards from your banish zone to your graveyard or something.
Mm-hmm. Or play a card from your banish zone. If you've reached some certain conditions, just straight up play a card from your banish zone.
I mean, I've seen online people are talking about the Mugenshi Lord of Wind line, and it reminds me of the way Katsu was built before heavy hitters, before it had to be a combo deck, and with Mask of Momentum, that was the version of Katsu that I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
So if Katsu comes back in that way, I may have to pick up another Mask of Momentum just for fun.
Good news. One, I have cheap. 2 of them. 2, they're cheap.
I guess we could go ahead and talk about the rest of the BNR, right? I mean, they're all small effects for us because we're mostly classic constructed players. But it is notable that Channel Lake Frigid in Living Legend is unrestricted. They really, really heavily hit ice when they kind of tried to bring Bravo Star the Show back in the line. And I think they basically made Icelander one of the coolest heroes that they've ever made in Flesh and Blood. Unplayable in Living Legend. Like, her only pivot card for some deck against some deck archetypes was Channel Lake Frigid. And she wasn't even that powerful in Living Legend. They just said, yeah, well, we don't do targeted restrictions and bans, even for Living Legend. So, but it is unrestricted now. I guess if Starvo wants to run 3 of them, he can. But Icelander now is probably much more playable in Living Legend.
Yeah, she definitely died for Starvo's sins. But unless that was a pun that you intended about Icelander being one of the coolest heroes in Flesh and Blood, I gotta disagree.
Her art's great. The way she plays is great. She plays on Axis that's totally different, but not so toxic as Kano, right? She still does things on your turn. Like, she slows down the meta, so people have to
remembering the same ice hero?
I loved playing against Icelander.
Icelander was a pretty skill intensive matchup for Dory, so I enjoyed it. I wasn't gonna say it's like the most fun matchup, but I mean, I could definitely run Icelanders over if they didn't have the proper cards.
As soon as Ice comes back, it'll be too soon.
And the tweaks you made to your deck to beat Icelander felt impactful, but not like crazy. Because like when I played Leviathan Icelander, the way I like brought my Icelander matchup up by like 10 to 15%, I just put 2 E-Pots into the deck. If I ever put an E-Pot out in play, I basically won the game. Because whenever I was going to go, oh, Blood Rush Bellow, they're going to go, oh, Channel Lake Frigid, I'm going to like break E-Pot in response, still get to do most of my turn. However, if they channeled the Bleak Expanse when I Blood Rush Bellow, that felt pretty bad. That was
Savage Sash, would you even need that?
With Savage Sash. Yes. And I'll tell you why.
Sash cause a frostbite?
No, Savage Sash is an action. So you break your Savage Sash and Icelander goes, in response, play Channel Lake Frigid, and you go, oh, that sucks. Now all of my attacks are just normal cost. But yeah, you could treat it as like an E-Pot, like if you think they have the Channel Lake Frigid. Also, it's also really fun, that kind of waiting game against less experienced Icelanders. If they didn't figure out what you were doing to them, they put the Channel Lake Frigid in their arsenal, right? And you go, all right, anyway, Endless Maw for 9. And they go, crap, that's only 1 attack. Do I leave this Channel Lake Frigid in my arsenal for a turn? And then the next turn I go, swing big, and they go, oh god, do I keep sitting on Channel Lake Frigid for another turn? And I'll be like, you gotta play it eventually. You gotta get it out of there. That mind game was really fun too. I know some decks can't play around that, like Ninja, for example. They just kind of get.
That's what I played back when Icelander was there.
Yeah.
So that's brutal because that deck's playing on borrowed resources anyway, and you're basically not even getting a turn once the frostbites start rolling.
That's why I'm so biased against Ice Heroes.
Well, yeah, maybe you wouldn't feel that bad about it now, because like I think New has plenty of resources. It basically just says you don't get to swing a second dagger or your first dagger depending on your hand makeup. Like
you got plenty of blues in that deck. You're playing like a warrior with just like 1 cost blue cards that you're trying to hit.
You know, that actually might be a fun matchup.
And you're running an arsenal all the time, right? And you could technically play their blue cards against them.
Mm-hmm.
So you can zap them for arcane damage. Okay, Blitz. Some very notable changes. They announced the Crown of Seeds ban way back, which was an interesting thing for them to do. They said as of today it would be banned, and it is banned as of today. I guess they just wanted to let Briar have it for a couple months, even though there wasn't any notable events other than maybe if your like higher tier events had some Blitz side events.
Yeah, enjoy it while it lasts is basically what they said on the last BNR.
Yep. Aether Wildfire and Aether Flare are both banned in Blitz in preparation for the upcoming Arcane set. That is Rosetta. Good.
And also because of Blaze.
I think Aether Wildfire and Aether Flare, at least Aether Wildfire, should just be banned, period. They should just redo the wizard design space to not include that card. Kano's got some really cool stuff about him, but Wildfire is very degenerate. The scaling is just wild.
I think that's Blazing Ether is a specialization, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a Kano specialization. That card is quite good. And with Wildfire, they are kind of broken together. Yeah. Especially with all the amp that's going to come out and make it.
That's exactly why I was going to say, like the amp just makes that card.
It is a talented set, so they can prevent Kano from having access to it pretty easily, right? Just give it an element. Easy. We did get a single spoiler card. We got to see the common weapon for our new lightning wizard, which is Volzar the Lightning Rod.
That's such a weird name.
Yeah, it sounds like something from a He-Man cartoon.
Right?
Yeah. Volzar the Lightning Rod reads, if you control an aura permanent with sigil in its name, this costs 1 resource less to activate. Once per turn instant, 1 resource, Amp X, where X is the number of lightning cards you've played this turn.
So I guess sigils are going to be a thing.
So we have exactly Sigil of Protection in the game right now. I don't know. I'm guessing that's going to get reprinted. Common card from Uprising. So
Probably.
that was a set with a wizard in it, and it existed in that set. I
definitely gonna get other.
I like the flavor of this card though, right? Because say you play that sigil costs 1, it eats up your action point, but maybe you have the ability to play an action as an instant, and then you get your 1 resource you spent back because it makes your weapon free. And it's AmpX equal to the number of lightning cards in play, so it kind of like you build up a static charge and shoot it off at once, so it's got a neat flavor to it.
Cool.
Yeah, because that's what it's doing. Yeah. You're like building up a static charge and zapping it out all at once. It's an amp effect.
Yeah, you guys know I love flavorful things in my TCG. That sounds amazing. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It does seem fun. Seeing this card made me really excited to play this in limited, like a limited set, because right off the bat, this sounds fun. We see sigils, so there'll be auras, meaning there are like temporary board states, because I'm going to guess that they'll probably mostly play like Sigil of Solitude and Sigil of Protection, where they have some reason they break at the beginning of turn. Sigil of Protection just breaks. Sigil of Solitude says if you have another illusionist aura, it breaks. Those kind of things, right? So I'm excited to see those cards be implemented in a fun way with all this arcane damage, because it's just like, do I invest in a ward 4 when it might just get zapped for 1? Right? Am I going to pay for Arcane Barrier to protect my ward 4? That kind of stuff is fun because I don't know how much limited Misveil you got to play. Those like questions on playing Enigma are a lot of fun. Like, when do I let the auras go? When do I try to get the most value out of them? When do I just full on protect them? So.
I don't know. I don't plan on playing a lot of limited of Rosetta. Yeah.
What?
I may skip this set altogether. Unless there's something really nifty assassin related in the expansion slot, probably gonna skip this one.
I have my doubts New needs any support, but they do like to occasionally sneak in a card that wasn't ready yet, needed more polish before they released it to the public, and sneak it in the very next set, right? Like Visit the Goldmane Estate and Olympia's specialization. The name escapes me at the moment. Visit the Golden Anvil.
Yeah.
So those 2 cards, they just weren't ready when Heavy Hitters came out.
Yeah, well, she may not technically need any support, but did KO really need Savage Sash?
He didn't.
Give her all the things. Just give her all the things.
And I used to think that Victor didn't really need Visit the Goldmane Estate, but I actually think he did.
Yeah, he did.
And it gives him a really nice kill condition that he could set up too. He becomes his own little kind of bursty combo deck sometimes. You go, okay, I've won 3 or 4 trounces now this game. Up 2 Visit Goldmane States. Visit 1, Visit 2. You better kill me this turn.
Yeah, those Might tokens are scary.
What's in your games, what's the most you've seen him put up in a single turn?
I think I saw 17, but I heard about 23 one time.
Okay. The most I've seen was 11, and I happened to draw an inertia trap as Riptide and killed him when he swung in with he swung in with like a blue disable for like 18. And I pinged him for 1 to finish him off. I was dead though, right? There's just no way I'm protecting 18 when I'm at like 2 health.
Wow. I don't know. I think Rosetta looks like a lot of fun for people that are interested in the arcane stuff, but I've found my hero. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good for a while. Just give me something. I don't even know what I would want, honestly. I mean, I really don't think there's anything that I want for New right now. I mean, I'm happy with where she's at. There's a lot to explore.
Her gear set's so solid. The only thing you could say is like give her more identity with an assassin chess piece, but like they're not going to print anything that's better for her than Tunic.
Probably not.
Tunic is just it fits so perfectly in her play style.
Yeah. I mean, there is I still would like to experiment with Redback Shroud at some point, but just because there's the incidental silver that you get, between surgical and leave no, but tunic is still just better.
Dude,
I mean, it really is.
And also, like I said, using that silver to like throw out like some really nasty levels of enlightenment stack near the end of the game is like a really satisfying play line to build up to.
Yeah.
So.
Did you saying something? No, I thought.
I made a pun about new tools. That was it.
Oh,
So you don't need new tools. Just keep with the flavor.
If something cool comes out, so be it. I will absolutely buy my singles, but yeah, I really don't know what she could possibly need right now because of
the Mystic decks. I think they knocked it out of the park. All three Mystic decks felt really complete with the card pool that was given to them, right?
Yeah, Artemis Veil feels like a home run.
Yeah, like New feels like a really well-made complete deck. Enigma feels like a really well-made complete deck, and Zen, I think, ended up going a different way than LSS planned. And
yeah, they said it was a whoopsie.
Yeah, even the one they planned, they said like they gave a gentleman credit for like hitting their vision of Zen and winning a PQ plus with it. Jake the Baker Warburton is the exact name that they credited. I feel like that list looks like a complete deck. Like it doesn't need any other cards added to it. It's just very well done. Yeah, Mistville is really well done. It has me super excited though for Rosetta. If they keep nailing this, because I think heavy hitters did it too, other than Olympia and Betsy. But Victor and Kasai and KO all came out with decks that felt really well made and complete. Even though it turned out that Victor did need an extra card, I still think that the versions of Victor we saw after heavy hitters release were solid.
Okay, so do we think that LSS's new philosophy is going to be deeply impacting the meta with every set? Because that's what we've seen with heavy hitters and with Misfail. The sets previous to that, we had discussed several times that they were very, very low impact. We were still coming out of the Tales of Arya and getting rid of all the old heroes. Is every new set going to have the same impact?
I mean, you almost got to say yes, right? After like Bright Lights, a lot of people didn't like it because the heroes just didn't have a big enough impact. The only one that we've seen having a lasting impact is Dash.io, right? She's picking up wins occasionally. People have to build around her and be ready for her. I would say, yeah. I think they saw we didn't push the envelope quite enough with Bright Lights, and we've got to do better. I'll give Dusk Till Dawn a little bit of a buy, because that was before they were just like, okay, no more expansion sets, only core sets from now on.
Yeah, DTD was a little...
Yeah, so it's sad. A little different. Outsiders, I kind of disagree. Now, Azuri didn't have this big impact, but Outsiders was basically the set Azalea came out in.
More or less.
And I think that set has some cards that have had a dramatically long-lasting impact on the meta, right? Premeditate, Codex of Frailty, and
yeah, Riptide. I mean, Outsiders was a great set, but it was just overshadowed by Lexi getting all the Ranger support.
Yeah, I mean, we gave her Lace with Blood Rot and Infecting Shot.
Yeah,
and Lace with Frailty.
Bonds came out, Bonds of Ancestry came out.
Yes, it did.
And Outsiders, which pretty much set the pace for all of this. But yeah, no, Outsiders was definitely a very good support set for some of the heroes.
So that means that we just kind of had two sets that were kind of dull, right? As far as meta impact. Dusk Till Dawn didn't have the biggest meta impact, just a few cards here and there that kind of hang around. And then
Dynasty was a real letdown when it first came out too.
Yeah, but a lot of stuff in Dynasty is kind of spicy.
Well, it's good now.
Dynasty was definitely a set that they made with future sets in mind, and that's just how it's been told to me.
Same thing with Dusk Till Dawn.
Multiple times.
Right? Because Hold the Line.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hold the Line got way better once KO came out.
Oh, and Poison the Well. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, we'll see. Everybody. We'll see.
It's a real card. But I almost think from a marketing standpoint, they have to. Like, they're really in on these new sets, drawing in new players. They want the blitz decks and the heroes and the like if this is your first time getting into Flesh and Blood, like they want you to fall in love with something that actually has an impact, and it makes sense, right? And then I always think about, well, what about the originals? What about Bravo, Dory? What about these heroes that are just like they're just slugging along, like that's since the dawn of time, and they're still not at their peak. But that's what the expansion slot's for, and they've pretty much made that clear that they're going to offer as much support as they can for heroes in need through
they'll
that.
give Bravo and yet again another broken specialization, and for some reason he'll still be not great.
Obviously, they can't predict exactly how the meta is going to engulf and speak to each other, and just some heroes are not going to have that that leverage that they would in a different meta, but they're not unplayable by any means. Like Dory Bravo aren't unplayable. It's just not their time. I mean, I guess that means they're unplayable, but you know what I mean. Like they're not bad. They're not missing something design wise. I
think the 4 OG heroes have all remained at least a little playable. They can be. Dory's never been the worst warrior in my opinion.
No, she's usually.
Reinhardt has been the worst brute several times.
His design space is just so hard,
and still is.
And I think Katsu just became the worst ninja, but he'll bounce back quickly,
very quickly.
With the ability to only run 3 bonds of ancestry, I don't see why you'd play Katsu over Fi now.
Unless that expansion slot card that comes out is just broken.
Yeah. That's to say, give him a card that like brings him back to that combo-y power level that you have to like really, really work for. Or give him a consistent like lines to play to threaten that mask momentum value each turn, and he'll be back.
Would be nice to see if they like I said, they just either find another way to get to Dishonor without having to play out the entire combo, so you can get a little bit of mixture in there.
I guess we'll probably find out for sure around PQ season after Rosetta actually comes out. If one of the Rosetta heroes dominates PQ season, then we'll know it's a pattern at that point.
Yeah, that's true.
One of the heroes almost has to be meta relevant. I mean, I guess they don't unless they just miss their mark because they're just scared that they're gonna make like another Alexi or you know what I mean. But like Zen,
I don't think they're scared anymore.
Yeah,
I think they've about got it figured out now.
Kind of fit
I
that
think
mold.
even Zen was better designed than what they kind of accidented into when they released Outsiders with Lexi.
I think they said they intended Lexi to be the most powerful deck in the format after that, but they didn't intend for her to be that powerful.
Well, because
it's the same thing with Zen.
They didn't intend Voltaire to be that powerful.
Oh yeah.
Voltaire came out way before she got the support, you know what I mean? And so it's like, we didn't really think
you had
about
this busted
that.
bow that could load 2 arrows a turn, except all the arrows were terrible.
Right. And so now all the arrows are sick and they have pumps behind them, and then you're like, oh, that's
Good
cool.
pumps.
And I can run disruption with Frostlock. Okay. Sick.
Yeah.
it's
I'm excited for it. I'm excited for
worlds.
it. And there's a ton of marvels in this set. Like just as many that were in Mistveil, so it'll be good.
Always good. Always good.
I may pick up some generics, but that's about it.
Well, you gotta at least play some limit, right? How's the Florida thing looking? Like, what does it look like? The over under?
I already said it ain't no chance.
No chance.
I've got a work trip the week before, and I know for a fact my boss ain't gonna let me off 2 weeks in a row. Now without putting in for a whole vacation. And
what if we bake him some like cookies? I put in a couple of good words for him. See if we can't sneak you away. We whisk you away for.
I know that my boss doesn't listen to this podcast, so I will go ahead and say he's a little cranky and he may throw those cookies at you.
Hell, I might eat them, even if he throws them at me. That's fine. But it's worth a shot, okay? It's close. It's in our neck of the woods. It
sounds like a lot of fun, but I don't see it happening.
All right, well, I'll go pick up some swag for you there.
All right. I think that's about the end of our podcast for this week, right? We're starting to hit ramble mode. Quick plug. We have a tournament in the Atlanta area coming up on August 17th, the Realm Rumble Invitational. So there is a link in the video description for that. If you're in the Southeast area, come join us. Entry fee is $30. We're looking at a $500 plus invites prize payout at the moment. If we have a huge amount of people sign up, then we'll increase the prize payout accordingly. So we've got the venue, we've got the judge, we're ready to go.
And we'll poll. I want to get some information on what you guys feel are like fun things. Obviously, I know people like packs and people like boxes, but I mean, there are mats I am not completely tied to that came from ProQuest or Pro Tour or whatever, you know, scrimmage seasons and things like that. So I mean, maybe you guys just want free stuff, and if I put a poll that says, "Do you like free stuff?" everybody would click that one anyway. But I like to get input. You know, how much do you think should be raffled? How much should top 8 relatively get? You know, I want to make sure that everybody feels super excited to be there. But I promise you, even if you are 0 and whatever, there's still a hot chance. Like that's
there will be some raffles.
We're here for a good time.
Top 8 will be good. We'll try to give out as much of it as possible to top 8, but there will be at least some raffle. All right.
We will make sure.
And a quick shout out to our patrons on Patreon. We've seen a little bit more activity on that lately. C-Dubs and Loot, thank you for being valued members of the Patreon.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, C-Dubs. We love you, man.
Yeah, Patreon stuff. If we accrue extra funds, I have a nice habit of always pouring that back into the project that the funds come in on. So that will go back into the community for sure. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Noah, where can everybody find you, buddy?
At Big Max Fab on Twitter and twitch.tv/BigMax, and on our siblings YouTube channel. When man, maybe I should just do a stream and put all these cards up. Probably should.
You're supposed to be streaming every week.
yeah, it's coming. Training.
It's been coming for 44 weeks now, bro.
Hey, if it makes it here, it counts. I do. I need to figure out a schedule where I don't like hate myself on the day that I stream. Maybe it's just on the weekends when I have more time and more energy, and that's fine. But I will attempt to pick up a day.
We're about 2 months away from our 1-year anniversary on the pod. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I have a decent guest that I want to bring on for our special time or 50 or whatever.
Sounds good.
What
about you, Thomas?
Two?
Yeah, you can find me at Wet the System Fab on Twitter, or Wet the System pretty much everywhere else on the internet, especially Discord.
Okay, and I am Draco Hominus 87 on Discord and Twitter, or the ambassador of New in the Cult of New Discord. Which, if you care about New at all, pop in, say hey. New is love, new is life. I also write for fabric.gg. If you like written content, check out some of the stuff I've done. Next one is going to be another UPF brew, and then immediately after that is going to be the coverage of Pro Tour Amsterdam. I'm not sure what hero to write about this week. My editor has asked me to do one of the MST heroes, so if anybody has a request, put it in a comment. Let me know which one of the MST heroes that you'd like me to write about. For UPF. I mean, I'm not going to try to brew up a CC Enigma deck, but might be able to figure out something for, Ultimate Pit Fight. Anything else, guys?
I request New, because I'm pretty sure when you activate her hero ability, you could play anyone's cards that are in the banished zones, right? You have to target an opponent? I don't think you do.
Ooh. I will.
If you do, it doesn't matter. You can still just pitch a bunch of chi in one turn. Anyway, that's my request. I have nothing else after that.
Let me read this hero. Oh no, it says that hero's banished zone. Oh well.
Okay, I mean,
all right.
If you have 2 chi, if you have 3 chi, you just go ham.
Yeah, it'd still be pretty cool. Anyway, thank you for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us this week, and if you did, subscribe or follow depending on where you found us to catch us again next time. Until then. Remember to take care of yourselves, and we are all siblings in cardboard.
I have a request too. You better discard your cards. You get pummel CNC, and I know it sucks, but the cards go. DChi. No IP2s.
Remember to DChi.